YouTubers? What's going on? What's going on? Yes, a lot is going on, okay? So, I wanted to talk about the Druski skit, the church skit that Druski did. I know it's early, folks probably ain't on here, can't be on here right now. They gotta work and all. I definitely understand. This video will be posted for everyone's entertainment purposes so that you can watch it. You can rewind the playback and we could talk about it later. So I first started seeing folks all upset about this Druski skit and social media, and I'm like, what's going on? I ain't seen no skit. So now I do my little Inspector Gadget inspecting, right? And then I see Druski flying out the sky at a church. So I'm like, what is going on here? And it's crazy that that happened because I was just thinking, y'all, I was just thinking the same thing because Kirk Franklin just came out with a new song or something, an album or something. And he was sitting in his car, right? And he's sitting in this truck. You could tell it's an expensive truck, a nice truck, right? And he had this shirt on and it had the brand name. I'm not sure what the name was. I can't remember. It was a brand name. I know that. And he's sitting there and he's looking like, like, to me, it was giving player vibes. And I was thinking, I feel uncomfortable. This is a man of God. This is a gospel singer. But he's sitting there in his car, and then he gets out the car and he's dancing outside the car. It kind of was giving me like a R. Kelly, P. Diddy type of vibe, the way he was dancing and all. And I was like, people like this? It just seemed a little weird to me. And I wanted to talk about it, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone because I know a lot of people like Kirk Franklin, and I'm gonna just leave it alone, right? But then Druski just did this skit, and it made me feel like I knew I was onto something. It's not just the gospel singers who are out here portraying themselves to be one way and they're really not. It's these pastors too. Now, we already know these pastors are doing the most. That's what pulled me up out of church. No, that's not. I'm sorry. I take that back. Because even as a child, okay, you can ask my mama, okay? Y'all get those likes up, please. I appreciate it. Even as a child, I did not like going to church. I didn't understand why we had to sit in church all day. You know, we got to put on, you got to struggle to buy my stockings and dresses and dress shoes, you know, for me to go to church and us to sit there, and I'm bored out my mind. And, you know, we still living like everybody else back at the crib right after we leave from church. So I never understood it. It just didn't make sense to me, even as a child. I used to get, my mom wasn't the type of mom that would beat your butt. But when I had problems with church, with going to church, sitting still in church, sleeping in church, you could best believe I got my butt whipped. That's the only time, the onlyest time my mother would put her hands on me and whip my behind is around church, if it had anything to do with church. And so it didn't, I wouldn't say it made me not like church. It just made me aware that that's where her button is, right there, right? But it never felt right to me, right? I'm telling you, as young as 7 years old, I never understood the whole going to church thing. So when I became an adult, of course, I'm not going to church because I don't care for church like that. That's not to say that I don't believe in God. You understand? But when my mom explained the Jesus story, it didn't make sense to me as a 7-year old, you guys. Okay? Anyway, that's regardless of that, right? So coming to my adult years, right? So I'm old, I'm in my 30s, right? I have an epiphany, right? My children want to go to church. They're asking me to go to church. And I'm like, I don't know where this is coming from. Now, they are going to school, they're around other children who probably go to church. When my children were growing up, I was like a younger mom compared to their friends' mom and parents. Me and their dad were on the younger end. So their friends probably had parents that were a little older than me. So they probably go to church on a regular basis, right? So here I am, like, I'm not going to church, and my children, like, they want to go to church. They want to go to church. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go to church. So I actually go to church. And I'm like, I could help. I'm in need of assistance, a spiritual assistance from, a church congregation and all. Those were just regular people to me. Okay? All right. First of all, this one church that we start going to, where my children like that church for some reason. I, I think they just like the fact of going to church. So we started going to this church, and on a regular basis, even once out the week, maybe we might go for like a Bible study or something, a children, something. And then on Sunday, we would go to church. So they would have on Sunday, usually I'll leave before they serve dinner, right? Because they would have a meal that they served after church. Now, most churches don't do this anymore, okay? And then some churches are charging, and they charging like they're a big fancy behind restaurant, okay? So we so this one Sunday, my children had already asked me, Mom, can we stay to eat? Because usually we go home and I cook, right? So I know they wanted the full experience and all. So we wait in line. We standing in line. It's a line to get food. We standing in line, and we're there. And then we get up there to the counter, and my children are not with me, but they're in the facility, right? They're in the building. Now, this was like in the basement of the church. So you had to go out the regular church, go downstairs, or go around the corner to get to the basement of the church where they were serving food. So I done walked all the way down there in my heels, okay? And my hot dress, and it done been about 2.5, 3 hours that we done sat down waiting in church, okay? I could have went home and been halfway done cooking, okay? But instead, I decided to wait in line to get served to eat. So my children playing. I'm in line. So when I get up there, I asked for a plate for me and my children. Do you know they said, I don't see no children with you? As if I would lie. Like, what would it benefit me to get 2 more funky ass plates? I don't even know how the food tastes. Okay, so that pissed me all the way off. I was like, ma'am, I have children. I come here with my children all the time. It's me, my children, usually their dad, but he's not here this Sunday. But I said, there go one of my children right there. And she was like, oh, well, they could come back through the line. So I know they ain't had nothing to do with the pastor or whatever. That's just that server directly. But I was like, okay, all right. Now, I don't have the best experience with church people. So that's why I stayed out of church. But because my children showed an interest in going to church, I was like, okay, I'm going to try. So yeah, no, I didn't try. After that, I told my children, we're going to find a church on TV, because church was already on TV at this time. It wasn't like a lot of churches was on TV or a lot of popular churches, but I guess some, they had some, right? So yeah, anyway, so we stopped going to church for a while. We start even we even had our own service at home on Sundays. My children would pretty much handle it, and it ended up being real great. They would sing and stuff like that. I would read some of the Bible and stuff. We would talk about how to be good people, And then so that happened for a long time. So then we get back into the church that I got baptized in. So we start going there, right? Yeah, you got to make it creative, poetry messenger. So we get baptized. Well, they get baptized. I was already baptized. My children said they wanted to get baptized, at the end of church service. I'm not sure if that's just a Baptist thing or what, but my children they asked if you want to be baptized. My children like, we want to be baptized. So I was like, okay, so we get them baptized and all. And so I get back into church, right? Because I'm feeling good, even though I had some bad experiences. So okay, I'm gonna tell about this bad experience I had, right? So I was a teenage mother, right? I had my first child when I was 15. Okay, I had my first child when I was 15. So after I had my child when I was 15 years old, I went to church and I took my baby to church. So we were in church and my baby was needed to eat or something. Anyway, it probably was more of an excuse for me to get out of church service. So I went in the hallway and I got my baby, rocking my baby and all, feeding her or whatever. And these two church ladies who were real big in the church scene, right? Everybody knew them. They were like the mothers of the church or whatever. If you go to church, you understand. So the one lady, and I respected this lady because she was always dressed nice, came to church. My mother liked her, always bigged her up, but they never were friends or anything. So she asked me, who child is that? She said, that's your sister? And I'm thinking, this woman know damn well this ain't my damn sister. So I said, no, this is my daughter. And she said, oh my goodness. A baby having a baby. Oh my goodness. To my see, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what she's saying to the other lady she's with. Man, that woman put me all types of down. Okay? I mean, just put me down, broke all my spirit. Now, yes, I was a young mother, but my children have always lived with me, okay? I wasn't the type of young mother who let somebody else take care of their children. No, I took full responsibility for all my children. I worked at 15. I went to school full time and I worked full time. Okay? After school, I went to work. I always have taken care of my children. That's why I'm living alone now, because my children are good. My children are set up real good. Okay? Make great money. Okay? At that. All right? So I'm young. I'm just standing here and I'm just so shocked. I can't even move. So this lady is steady just putting me down. She's like, oh, this shouldn't even be allowed. No child can't take care of a child. And I'm thinking, well, damn, I do live with my mama. So it ain't like I live by myself on the street or something. This lady put me all types of down. So bad to the point where I was ashamed to tell my mom that how she made me feel. I was crying out there. So instead of me just being out there trying to figure out my next steps moving forward as a young teenage mother, now I'm out there crying. And they left. And now I don't even want to go back into service, right? So I really stopped going to church after that because I was like, oh no, I can't go here because now I'm embarrassed, right? I'm embarrassed, I'm hurt. And, so I have never had a great experience with church. Anyway, fast forward, my two youngest children, are all into church and everything. So we're there. We get to this other church. They get baptized and all. So I call myself wanting to be a Christian, right? So I said, I'm going to do the things that it says a Christian would do in the Bible, right? So I started wearing dresses. I said I wasn't going to celebrate Christmas because in the Bible, it says that you're not supposed to bring a tree in your house and decorate it with gold, silver, and gold. And you're not supposed to celebrate any man made religions, which would be Christmas, which would be Easter, which would be Valentine's Day, which would be Thanksgiving, all the shit all the Christians celebrate, right? In the Bible, it says you're not supposed to eat shellfish. You're not supposed to eat pork. So I stopped eating pork. Man, every Christian and their mama always told me, what do you mean you don't eat pork? You don't eat pork. I said, do you know in the Bible it says the pork is not good to eat? You're not supposed to eat pork. You're not supposed to eat shellfish. When I told them about the whole Christmas thing, you're not supposed to bring a tree in your house and you're not supposed to decorate it with silver and gold because I read this shit. It's in the Bible. It says it. So Christmas don't line up to the payment that the church gonna receive at the end of the year, during the last quarter, just like all the corporations, so you messing things up for the church when you say stuff like that. And in the Bible, it doesn't even tell you that Jesus' birthday is in December. Somebody prove that point to me. So now I'm battling up here with myself yet again, trying to participate in something that does not make sense to me. But I'm trying to hold on, right? So I'm like, my family members are like, now they all supposed to be Christians, right? They're like, so you're not going to celebrate Christmas for those children? Those children need Christmas. And I'm thinking, but the Bible says you're not supposed to bring a tree in your house and decorate it with silver and gold. You're not. So why would I bring a tree in the house and decorate it with silver and gold and give them a gift for what? What is the purpose? Why do I need to give my children a whole bunch of gifts with they little ungrateful asses all year? Okay, they've been ungrateful. But at the end of the year, I'm supposed to gift them with an ass of gifts, spending money that I don't have. It don't make sense. Make it make sense. Boy, do y'all know that my family members were the first ones to separate themselves from me? All I was doing was what the freaking Bible said, especially when I started eating pork. I haven't eaten pork in. Okay, can you hear me, poetry? Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me, please. But I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I forgot all about that. But anyway, let me wrap it up. So, you can now? Okay, great. So, here I am really trying with this Christian thing because I'm thinking my life is going the way it's going because I'm not more of a Christian. But my family was the first ones to distance themselves away from me because I said I was going to do the things that the Bible said. When I said I stopped eating pork, I was getting, oh, are you Muslim? And every time I had the Bible verse then, I don't have it now, but it's in the Bible. It says you're not supposed to eat pork. It says it in the Bible. So that's not a Muslim thing. So judgmental, right? And so now I don't push myself away from my family. They're laughing at me. They're talking junk about me. They're telling my children, oh, well, I'm going to get y'all something for Christmas because y'all mama acting crazy. So I said, fuck it, okay? This Bible shit, this whole Christian shit, and I know plenty of Christians, they act just like I act. So what's the difference? Right. So now we got division for one book. It's one book. I'm doing what the Bible says. I'm stop wearing pants because in the Bible it says a woman supposed to wear clothing of not like man. So I'm thinking that means men wear pants, a woman should wear dresses because men don't wear dresses, right? So, here I am trying to change my lifestyle based off this Bible that everyone holds dear to their heart. And then I'm being disrespected because when I talk to Christians, they looking at me like I'm stupid. But these so-called Christian people, you know what? Matter of fact, when a person tells me they're Christian, my antennas go. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Yeah, I hope you can hear me now. You can hear me now? So, yeah. So, matter of fact, when I hear a person tells me that they're a Christian, I already know what time it is. You're judgmental. You're a liar. You're probably a cheater. You don't even practice what you preach. And that's my opinion of Christians in the church. Okay? Feel how you want to feel about it. But at the same time, you're human, right? We're all human. One thing I hate about talking to a person who says they're a Christian is it always seems like they're trying to convert you to some shit that they probably don't even do they damn selves. Okay? They're like, oh, I'm a Christian. You should come to my church. For what? Your church, like everybody else's church, we get to watch the preacher stand up there with his expensive ass suit on, okay? The congregation full of people who can't afford to make their rent this month, okay? And yet the preacher up there, looking for a payout. Then they got like 10 buckets they passing around. And if I pass that bucket to somebody else, the person next to me gonna look at me like I'm stupid when I feel like I'm smart because, bitch, if you can't make your rent this month, why you put money in the church bucket? Because I bet the preacher could make his rent. He probably ain't got rent. He probably got a mortgage. And you up here struggling to pay your rent, which means if you can't pay your rent, you're going to be put out. But if he can't pay his mortgage, he ain't even going nowhere. He's still going to have somewhere to stay. But the ignorance of our people, right? So I remember that same church where the ladies was making me feel bad about being a teenage mom. And my family already made me feel bad. So, and I know this woman knew that, right? So I guess she just wanted to make sure I felt as bad and low as I could feel. And I'm a good person at the end of the day, right? So it's not like I'm like a heartless person. But anyway, so this same church, right? Probably about 10, 15 years ago, they wanted to build a bigger church, right, on the same grounds. So they had this plan for all the members to donate, I think it was like $4,000, but they broke it down for them. They put it on like a payment plan for each one of the members to donate $4,000, but they had a payment plan set up. So every month they had to pay a certain amount of money to get this so it could go towards building the church fund, right? Boy, my mama was dedicated, okay? Let me tell y'all, we struggled growing up in my mother's household. Thank you. But we struggled. And my mom wasn't a single mom. My stepdad been in my life since I've been 2 years old. Okay? He's always been there. He's still there. But so we didn't struggle like, I mean, we struggled, you know. I mean, my mom and my stepdad, they owned a house, then they didn't, then they started renting, then they owned another house, and that's how they live now. They own a house, but we went back and forth, even in a 2-bedroom household. My mother only had 2 children, and me and my sister were 10 years apart. So when I was 8 years old, my sister was already out the house, living a very decent life with herself and her husband and her children. So even to take care of one child, 2 grown people taking care of one child, they still weren't where they needed to be financially because they didn't know how to budget or how to increase the money that they made, right? I'm a widow, actually. My husband passed away in 2021. So, so I'm thinking if 2 grown people, no problem. So if 2 grown people are having a hard time with their finances, keeping things afloat, each and every month, some of these people, some of these women ain't got no man. Some of these women probably on Section 8, okay, low income. And who in the church? Who in the church, y'all? Women, right? Women in the church. Women. Usually, women are in the church. The strong women, right? Because we're strong, right? Because we're going to do what we got to do to keep everything together for ourselves or our children if we have children, right? That's just what we're going to do. So women are keeping everything together, and women are the same ones these pastors are asking for all these money from, because they know that the women gonna come through. They know how you are. They know you strong. They know that you want to be a part of a group. They know you want to be a part of a family. They know that this is probably the closest you'll get to a man is your pastor. Because think about it. A lot of Christian women love the hell out they pastor, y'all. They can't get their man to do nothing, but they love that pastor. Because I remember my stepdad growing up, he used to always be like, oh, you going to such and such church, talking about the pastor, right? As if my mom was having a relationship with the pastor or had a crush on the pastor. But he knew the game I wasn't aware of at the time, that this pastor is getting up there. He's showing himself in this nice suit, well spoken, right? Speaks well, drive the nicest car in the damn parking lot, right? Get up there every Sunday for all these women to come into church, sit down and see him look good and fantasize how that's their man. That's what they doing. That's what they're doing. Because think it ain't no men in the church. And the men that's in the church are gay. Okay? I'm surprised Druski didn't put that out. But the majority of the men that's in the church are gay. And the other ones got wives, and they just want the rest of the women that's, willing to give themselves up and be available for them. All the deacons and stuff like that, they want the women. Because they're getting attention from the women. It's all a scam. Okay? In the Bible, it says the temple is the mind. In the Bible, it tells you, I ain't even come to preach today. Okay? I wanted to talk about the Druski skit, and I'm going to get to that. But I'm just telling you, if you don't know, in the Bible, it says that you shouldn't be in a house receiving the word of God. It says something like that. It's something like that. Anybody who's supposed to be a Christian will be able to help me with that right there. But it's crazy, right? And these pastors are really taking over, okay? The small ones know that they could be big ones because think about it. These churches are 501c. I used to have well, I still have it, a nonprofit business. But a church is a nonprofit business, which means they're not taxed. The money they receive is theirs. Okay, they could receive donations. You don't know how much money going in and out of that church each year because it's not taxed. It's not even accounted for. So you think about it. Right around your city and your town, I bet you it's 2 or 3 churches on every corner. They getting free income, y'all. They're not being taxed. It's just free. So whatever they can get their congregation to pour out to them, and then think about it, what are they giving to the communities? Most of the time, these churches is 2 or 3 church on the corner in every neighborhood, and the neighborhood still look like junk. I'm being nice with my words. Still look like junk. They not putting, these pastors not putting, I'm trying to cook me breakfast, sorry about that. But these pastors, they're not concerned about the community and doing community things. Okay, I remember one time, this same church that I'm talking about, the one that I got baptized in, and the 2 women were there, and they made me feel real bad about being a teenage mom. So this church, my mom has been to that church ever since I've probably been about 13 years old. So I'll say about 30 something years, right? So this same church, I remember when I guess my mom needed some help paying the rent, making ends meet. So she went to them because I remember one time doing church service, they said, oh, we help y'all too. This money that y'all tithe goes towards helping the community. So they told my mom that. So she believed that, right? So me and her went up there. Must have been on like a Monday or Tuesday. Church service was on Sunday. They just said that, right? So we go to the church on Monday or Tuesday or whatever. And my mom went there to see about getting help paying for her rent. Because she was like a month behind or something like that. Month, maybe 2 months behind, or would have been 2 months behind or something. Anyway, so they built her up and kept telling her that, they were going to help her out and everything. So this went on for probably about a week. They were telling her things to do. She had to do these certain things, and they told her they were going to help her pay her rent. They never paid. They never paid. They never helped her. And she continued to go to this church. This church blew up so big, and yeah, I'm saying blew up like balling, okay. This church blew up so big, they created a restaurant where it's about $20 for a meal. They have a buffet style, and it's about $20 for the meal. They have this huge, very nice church, right? But they created a bank, right? And so the bank is to help you save, right? So one day, so my mom had been saving in this bank. She even had me a savings account at this bank, right? Now ask me where the hell that savings account is, and I couldn't tell you, okay? Because I went there to find out where the savings account was when I was way younger, like older teenager, and they told me my account didn't exist, even though I had a card that they gave me, but they couldn't find my account, which I think it only had like $200 or $300 in it. But anyway, the money disappeared. Anyway, so my mom had been saving in this bank, right? Which a lot of the people were. So, and they still have this bank to this day. So she went there to see about getting a loan, right? Because I think she needed a couple $1,000s or something. Now, mind you, she probably had like $8,000 or $9,000. I mean, $800 or $900 in the bank. But I think she needed like 2 or 2,500 or something. So she goes to the bank. They talk. They talk about how she's been putting money savings in there every week. She's been paying her tithes every week, which is separate. It's separate. The tithes ain't got nothing to do with the savings, even though she's still paying what she's supposed to pay every week. So she tells them she need this loan. So they never gave her the damn loan. Okay, point blank period. They never gave her the loan, and she continued to keep that bank. Thank you, Poetry Messenger. I appreciate it. But I'm just like that. I'm just a happy spirit, though. I'm a happy-go-lucky spirit. I feel like I was put in this world to dispel distruths and make people just be happy, because that's just how I am. But yeah, they ain't never helped her. This is the point I'm trying to make. This big ass church, right, that's trying to be on their way to a mega church. Now the pastor, he's like real big in my hometown. So he matter of fact, he went to meet the President Obama and all. Obama never came to the church, matter of fact. And I remember my mom kept talking about, yeah, he was helping campaign for Obama and everything. So the church and the campaign for the politicians go hand in hand, y'all. That's something else. I'm getting all the way off the subject. Okay, let's get to Druski. So Druski does the skit, right? He's in this fresh ass Christian Dior jacket, and then he has these red bottoms on, these Louis Vuitton red bottom shoes, right? So he's flying in the sky. And yesterday, when I kept hearing about Druski, people were like, oh, he's disrespecting the church. He's disrespecting the church. So I was like, let me look up and see what Druski's saying. But everything he did was what the preachers did. He didn't do anything different. There was a preacher flying in the sky in his church, talking to the congregation. That happened. That whole outfit. He had the outfit down to the T. A pastor wore that. I couldn't get what that pastor name is. I could not find that pastor's name. But it's a picture of him, and I'm going to put it in my thumbnail because I saw the picture of that pastor. If anybody know what that pastor's name is, send me that name. So everything he did, when he said close them doors, we need $10 million tonight, didn't Marvin Sapp do that? Marvin Sapp told them people to close the doors. He needed $10,000 for each and every person. That other guy, I forgot what his name is. That woman and her grandchild looked like came up there, and she only had $1,000, and he embarrassed her. And he said, what? It's 1,000 plus 1,000, ma'am. That's what it is. He said, I'm gonna need you to go back and come back when you got 1,000 plus 1,000, not just 1,000. I mean, these pastors are very disrespectful. Very. Right. They are making a mockery. They're exploiting, and they're getting away with it. Okay? When I see a church, when I hear of a Christian, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm going the other way, because to me, that equals devil. That equals devil. I don't care what you want to say, how you want to say it, how you feel about it. I don't care about your feelings, okay? I'm telling you, These pastors are playing you, okay? You do not have to go to a church in order to be religious or to have a relationship with God. God not going to charge you for that. Where else does God charge you for um for what? What are you being charged for? And in the Bible, okay, the 10% in the Bible, in the King James Version, the 10% that you tithe was supposed to be, or is, I'm sorry, and that's not alleged, it's in the King James Bible. Your 10% is food and oil for the children and the widows and the homeless people. That's what the Bible says. That is exactly what the Bible says, y'all. That's what tithing's supposed to be, food that you store in the storehouse so that the people can't eat. Because it's not important for you to take the people's money so they can't have a place to stay, or they're struggling trying to figure out how they're going to stay. You're supposed to be able to feed the people so they won't be hungry. It says that about tithing. Okay, the food's supposed to be stored in the storehouse for the widows, for the women and children, and for the people who don't have food. I'm not making this up. Look it up in the King James Bible what tithing mean. It says nothing about money. And this is the thing. They had a currency back then. I think it was just coins or gold or whatever. So if that was the case, if tithing was supposed to be coins, money, and gold and silver and stuff like that, they would have said that. They would have said that in the Bible because they had those things. So y'all out here getting played. Y'all dressing up, buying all these fancy ass clothes where the women nowadays barely dressing at all. They showing their asses all the way off in the church for these gay ass men. Okay? Okay. I said it. I said it. I sure did. Okay? I sure did. You're not going to go to church and find no man. You're going to go to church and you're going to put your money towards that pastor. That's what you're going to do. He's pimping you. He's your pimp. I hate that it is this way. It shouldn't be this way. It should be illegal to steal these people money like they do. But y'all know these Christians do not play, okay? If I tell my mama that, I would get kicked out. One thing my mom don't play about, and we will fall all the way out about, is religion and politics. Religion and politics, y'all. I'm telling you, that'll break up a household right there before anything else do. People who do not care about you. And I could get into that whole politics thing because I think that's a scam as well. Okay. But I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not. But I went to this event just recently, and I was talking to this lady, this beautiful girl. She's probably around my age, beautiful woman. And we were talking about, what we do as, for our careers and all. And, she was saying that she goes to this church. And I was like, here we go. But I'm telling y'all, anytime a person tell me they're a Christian or they go to a church, I'm looking at you sideways. First of all, I don't even trust your ass now. I'm going to be honest. Okay? I said it. And I really usually don't even keep that part of me, put that out there. But now you know. Okay? So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And she's like, have you found a church family? Because y'all know I'm new here to Texas. So she's like, have you found a church family yet? And I'm like, no. Mm-mm. And she was like, "Oh, well, what religion are you?" And I was like, I'm not religious." And she was like, "Oh, well, you don't have to be religious to go to church." I'm thinking, well, why the fuck would I want to waste my days? Anyway, y'all, the point I'm trying to make is that we were doing good when we were talking about our jobs, our careers, okay, our careers, talking about our businesses, we were at a networking event. So, we were on the roll, just having a good time, right? I went there to network. So, I'm having a great conversation. And, everything turned sour when I said I wasn't a Christian. And I'm thinking, here we go. Damn Christians. Can't run away from them, okay? So now I guess she feel like I disrespected her, because I said I'm not a Christian. And then here she goes. She's like, well, you should come to my church. Like, girl, why is you trying to recruit people? Well, why? I don't look like I got enough stuff to do on a daily basis. But anyway, that Druski skit was so on point. He ain't lie about nothing. Okay, the swinging through the church did that. They do that. Okay, the fancy cars and how he scared off in the Rolls Royce or whatever that was. I don't know cars like that. How he scared off in the car when the guy asked him if he could pray for his mother. That's another thing. Them pastors, boy, I tell you, y'all, that is a scam. They the biggest pimps. I hate to put y'all on game like that. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. I feel like I'm preaching today, okay? That's the biggest scam. That's what they do. That's what they do. Y'all, when he peeled off from the guy, he asked the guy, did he tithe? And he said, no. He said, get the fuck off my car. Man, y'all gonna learn today, okay? Didn't Cat Williams say, Cat Williams said it. He said 2025 was gonna be the year. Was that 2025 or 2024 when Cat Williams said that? I can't even remember. Now the years done crept up on me. But Cat Williams said all lies would be exposed. That's what Cat Williams said. Okay? And what Druski did he didn't even exaggerate. Only thing he did was he's not a pastor. And he said all the stuff the other pastor said. Flying through the sky. Other pastors did that. Okay? Asking for huge ass donations that the congregation should not be paying towards the church. Okay, if anything, they should be using their money for investments. Okay, to buy a life insurance policy for themselves and their family members. That's what they should really be doing. So their family members won't be out here asking for starting GoFundMe's when they passed away, because the church ain't even helping to bury you. And you done paid all your tithes for 50, 100 years. And you can't get a dime if you need some money because you about to get kicked out if your family member passed away. They don't care. They don't care. That shit was funny. Okay? Funny. And usually, like they say, if a comedian is saying something and you feel some type of way about it, it's because it hit home. Now, Druski is a comedian. And to me, he could have went even further with that. Okay? Because these pastors out here that Kenneth Copeland and Dollar, what's the name? Creflo Dollar, they buying huge jets. Got multiple jets, y'all. Ain't taking nobody in the congregation nowhere in the jet. But they out here in the jet? Why you can't fly um why you can't fly first class on Delta or American Airlines like everybody else? Like, why do you need a jet? Why you need your own plane, nigga? Like, what? I make it make sense. Y'all start letting these people play in y'all face. Okay, Southwest, right? Why you can't fly Southwest like everybody else? And the fact that these people are getting this type of money, it makes me think they doing something else. Because like I said, the usually the pastors work with the politicians. And then that make me think there might be drugs involved or something too. Like, where y'all getting all this money from that don't have to be accounted for? And the IRS stay on everybody behinds. Okay? But we gonna let these pastors get away with all this money they receiving? We gonna let that not be accounted for? It's all a scam to me, y'all. And then these pastors know good and well that this Bible stuff isn't real. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. You gonna get the truth over here, okay? Because I told y'all about my journey, okay? Okay, I was on my journey to be a Christian, so I was studying. And then I came across information that predates the Bible story. And then they tried to stop me, y'all. I keep getting these spam calls. I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I forgot. I'm sorry. But y'all, I was on my journey to become a Christian, right? And with me, I ain't never liked school, but I love history. Always love history. I don't know, it's like it just came natural to me to love history. So once I start getting all this hate from the Christians about how I'm living my life and what I'm doing with my children as a young mother. Well, I guess I wasn't that young. I was in my 30s at that time. But, I was getting so much hate that I was like, okay, well, it was this guy I knew. And I didn't know, but he was the people who wear the purple. Anyway, I don't know. I forgot what that is. Anyway, he was telling me about the Bible. And we would study the freaking Bible, y'all. He was for real, okay? This dude knew the Bible. I'm going to say that, okay? And he was just telling me, he was like, okay, scroll to this point, and here I am, like this, like this, like this. And it's all there, right? Everything is right there. So he was telling me different things in the Bible, and I'm like, and I'm going to be honest, y'all, the Bible is very, very interesting. Very interesting. If you need a good book, the Bible. Boy, they won't let me be great now, boy. Am I bad? Am I bad? Okay, I'm bad. Right, okay. It's like somebody got the word out and was like, get that, get her. But y'all, so this guy started teaching me different things because he wanted me to be one of those people. I forgot but the stuff he was preaching was actually word from word out the Bible. But he was just saying that black people were the one that they're talking about in the Bible, not white people, and to me it was like, okay, all right. The information was still what the Bible was saying, but he was just trying to say that it's black, it's not white. And I'm like, I could look past the whole racial thing because I feel like that's just the way to keep people at odds against each other anyway. So the racial thing to me is like a way to control people, to me, in my opinion. So, I mean, I get it. At the same time, it's like, okay, what else you got? Okay. But anyway, I forgot what they call those people. They wear the purple and they have the fringe, the gold fringe, and they usually on the corners on Saturday. Anyway, but so he was the one who showed me in the Bible. It said all the stuff that it said, that you're not supposed to eat pork, you're not supposed to eat shellfish, you're not supposed to bring a tree in your house and decorate it with silver and gold. He the one who showed me all this stuff and more, and about the tithing and everything, and I was just like amazed, right? But then something told me to do my own research. So the spirit came up in me and said, it goes deeper. So I went deeper. Come to find out that it's it's history that existed way before the Bible was ever created. So then it just shocked the hell out of me. I was like, hold up. If the Bible is not the oldest history, then why would we stop here? But it's because of the control. Y'all ever seen the Book of Eli movie? Look at that book. To me, they trying to make it seem like this book was the first, but it wasn't. It wasn't the first. Think about all the ancient civilizations, y'all. That was centuries and more before the Bible even came about. Actually, the Bible came from that. I hate to have to tell y'all this. I hate to have to say it. And it's okay. You can still be a good person. You can. But it's a replica. It's a knockoff. The Christian thing is a knockoff. It's not the original. I hope I don't lose y'all after this right here. I hope I don't lose my little bit of subscribers that I worked so hard to get. I hope y'all understanding what I'm saying. I'm not even trying to preach. I'm just telling y'all the truth. If you do the research, I know in the Bible it says that you're not supposed to pay any attention to anything else but the Bible because they don't want y'all to see. But y'all know, come on, y'all know that the Garden of Eden don't make sense. Think about it. Just think about it. Okay, let's think about it. Think about this. All I'm asking you to think. Think in your mind, use your mind and think, right? So God created the earth. And it is God who created everything, right? But listen. So then God created man first. And then God took a rib from Adam and made Eve. Come on. Come on. Think, use your mind. And that has never happened again, right? Eve has been making Adam the rest of her life. Now, I'm not saying Eve is the original. But why hasn't Adam been able to pull a rib from here and there and make anything else? Why have if the woman came from the man in the beginning, then why the women making the men and the women? The story it don't add up, baby. It don't. How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? Okay. Now, I get it. You gotta have both because you gotta have the sperm and you gotta have the egg, right? Gotta have the woman's egg and you gotta have the man's sperm in order to make the kid. So maybe, just maybe, they came at the same time. Maybe both energies appear at the same time. I don't know. This is the thing that I hate about Christians. They pretend to know what the story is, and I don't know what the story is. All I'm saying is it don't make sense that God would make a woman from a man, and then the woman makes the man and the women, and so on and so on and so on. And it's no way that you could reverse that. So how can it be that? I'm just saying. Make that make sense to me. Then the snake in the Garden of Eden. Okay, and then the tree. Now I'm still trying to figure out what that tree and the apple is. Because so God give you all this lamb, right? Give Adam and Eve all this lamb, right? And then I ain't even supposed to be going through all this, y'all. I got stuff to do today. I'm trying to fix my breakfast. I ain't even made the breakfast yet. If y'all appreciate it, I have to come back with another one, a part 2. We maybe could get into this later on. I hope y'all appreciate the me coming on here. Really, I just wanted to talk about Druski real quick. I do.
Primer pedido puedes obtener 3 cosas por solo 99 centavos y el envío es gratis. Presiona el enlace para visitar AliExpress.
I want you to meet Stanley. Stanley is your new AI tool that acts as your scriptwriter, your
My phone just started speaking Spanish. Did y'all hear that? That's so freaking weird. I've never heard that before. It's like it was playing a video. That was weird just now. Hi, play a commercial and I'm on live. And what? Anyway, okay, the spirit is really like, no, girl, no. And see, stuff like that don't scare me either. I don't know why, but anyway, so yeah, so if y'all like this, we might have to come back with a part 2 or something. Yeah, and the spirit will communicate. That's why you're supposed to use your own intuition and follow your path, right? And y'all get some sun today, okay? Because I need to step outside and get me some sun. But the sun helps. It's needed, and I think it's necessary. Yeah, I gotta hurry up and fix me some breakfast because I got a Zoom call. If you guys appreciate my content and you do want to find out about insurance, I am doing a live stream, me and my daughter, because we own an independent insurance company, and we got to do that in about an hour. And yeah, that's gonna be fun on her channel. It's KM underscore, what is her? Yeah, it's KMV. Let's see here. Can you hear me? Am I back? 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 Okay, it's KMVLT underscore. Let me see. It's can you see me? It's KMVSLT underscore. KMVSLT underscore. So we're going to be talking about insurance. We do a little brief thing every Wednesday where we talk about insurance if people have insurance questions and all. It's not a recruitment for anything. It's just more of an informative way for people to get questions answered if they have questions about insurance. Anyway, so I got to do that because that's what I do on my Wednesdays. And then I have a Zoom call right after that at like 2 p.m. And then something else I got going on. So I might come back and do a part 2 because I like talking about stuff like this, even though it's opposite of what I actually do in my real life. But I hope you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope this has been very entertainment and informative at the same time. Y'all have a wonderful Wednesday. All right, peace to everyone. Bye.